I'm absolutely gasping. I think my tongue is growing cacti on it. Oh, I'm so thirsty. Welcome back everybody. We're travelling by motorcycle from Caen to Bilbao, and this is part 2 of day 1, where we're going from Caen, Eastern ferry port, down through Saumur to a place called Saint Gaultier. I'm riding my R1250RT and I've got my dad with me on his Honda CB 1100. Enjoy the ride. So we're still probably 100 kilometers or so from our destination, and at the moment I'm absolutely gasping for a drink, and the bikes are pretty thirsty as well, so I'm going to try and find a petrol station and somewhere to have a drink. In the meantime, here is another lovely French village for your enjoyment. I just love all these old buildings. It's of course very tempting to buy one because they're so cheap, but I imagine you'd lose your shirt trying to renovate it. Another one of these little micro car things. I've seen quite a few of those around. It's a very French thing. I've got a feeling they can be driven by 16-year-olds and they're limited to 30 or 40 miles per hour. It's not very much. Kind of like the moped version of a car. This bike has been pretty great so far for the trip. I am slightly sore in my back, but I don't think that's to do with the bike so much as my my dodgy posture. I tend to slouch down to get my head behind the screen, so actually maybe that is a useful insight. So I'm 6'1" or 185 centimeters, and I'm finding I have to just scooch down a little bit to get the full benefit of the wind protection from the screen. I noticed from a comment in my first impressions review video of this bike that somebody said that I don't have the larger screen. There is a bigger version apparently. Perhaps I need to look into that. Another one of these fantastic roads. There's always just this feeling of space when you're in France. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. I know it's a big country, but why does it feel so big? That's a really stupid question, I guess. Because in the UK, everything's just crammed, isn't it? But I'm thinking, like, even if you go somewhere where the population density isn't so high in the UK, it still never feels quite as big as France does. When you look at the scenery and you look to the horizon in France, it always seems to be a larger space. just checking the temperature, it's 22.5 degrees C. And it feels really humid, and you've got all of this oilseed rape in the fields here that's all in bloom, and it's quite an oppressive smell. I actually don't mind it. I know folks who have hay fever really struggle with it. It looks beautiful though, doesn't it? These yellow fields. Yeah, it feels humid. I'm hot in my jacket, hot inside my gloves, and I've heard that down in Spain they've been having like crazy temperatures, 36 degrees or something. I don't think it's going to be that hot for us because we'll be in the mountains mainly, and it will be a lot cooler. I don't much fancy riding in 36 degree heat, so I'm really hoping that's not the case. Never happy, are we, us Brits? When it's cold we want it to be hot. The moment it gets hot we complain about it. It's our national sport, complaining about the weather. I think we must be quite a rural location here, because that was a bit odd. It's a little fuel station attached to a Renault garage. You've got to go into the Renault garage to the service reception to pay for your fuel. And the downside of this means I still don't have anything to drink. And I've also made the mistake of following the sat-nav, so I'm probably on the wrong road now for my route. Never mind. Never mind. Currently showing an arrival time of 5 o'clock, which is about 45 minutes away. That'll be pretty good if we could get to the accommodation around that time. I'm gonna have to stop for a drink before that, because I think my tongue is growing cacti on it. I've got no idea whether this is going to be good content for you guys. I don't have the experience in doing these kind of tours. I'll try and find useful things to talk about motorcycling, about this bike along the way, point out some of the nice sights, and just share a bit of the trip with you. Hopefully that's okay. And if not, I can thoroughly recommend checking out Norley at Itchy Boots. She's absolutely fantastic. If you want to live vicariously through someone else's motorcycle tour, she's the lady to watch. But if you do stick around with me, I'm very grateful indeed. My current target is to try and get the subscriber numbers up to 1,000. It's the last thing I need to do to meet YouTube's criteria for earning a bit of revenue off the channel, which all goes in the kitty. I do have another YouTube channel. I've mentioned this lots of times, but if you like tech, then it's Constant Geekery, hence CG Rides. Hopefully that makes sense. And I've got 36,000 subscribers on that channel, and we get a little bit of income from it. But I don't take that income personally. All of the money that we ever make from any of the YouTube stuff either gets invested back into the channel, buying new GoPro cameras, that kind of thing, or it goes to paying youngsters. So my eldest son trained with me for, I think it was 2.5 years, so he was getting paid a wage. I've had a young lady named Erin working with me as well. She's actually employed by my company, and now my son Ben, who's 15, is working with me, and he edits most of the videos that go on the main channel, the tech channel, and also does a lot of the camera work, the B-rolling. He's doing extremely well. I'm really proud of him, and it's nice to be able to give him a bit of money. But the long-term goal with that is when he's finished with school, is that he can have an apprenticeship and will earn enough money off the YouTube channel to give him an income. And the reason for doing that, incidentally, is because I already have a business. I don't need an income from YouTube per se. But I do think it's good to have things on a commercial footing, because it costs a huge amount of time and money to produce content for YouTube. And YouTube is not very good at rewarding its creators. Unless you get to be absolutely massive, then you don't even cover your costs. So just to have a bit of contribution towards that, off of the kindness and generosity of you guys watching the channel, that's a win for me as far as I'm concerned. I absolutely love working with my boys and spending time with them. It's a great life. So thank you very much. If you have subscribed to the channel, I really do appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, I'm not going to carry on anymore with that. Don't want to get all weepy and emotional and stuff. Goodness sake, we're in France. We've got a motorcycle to ride and some miles to get through. It's been a long day today. Well, we've clocked up, well, by the time we finish, we'll have clocked up well over 6 hours in the saddle. Some of it was hard riding. Some of it's been absolutely fantastic. This is a nice finish to the day. It's nice and easy, reasonable pace, making progress. It's good. You do need a bit of a mix. I've said this already in this video, assuming I didn't edit that bit out, but you do need a mix of slightly faster roads, slightly slower roads where you can soak it all up, the twisties, and sometimes you do have to get on a motorway and get some miles under you. Right. The benefit of doing that for us today meant that we got away from all the bad weather. I'm looking around for a place to get just to get a bottle of water or something. Not being successful. Not sure what was going on there. Car was all over the road and then the hazards come on. I wonder if they're broken down. I should probably do the decent thing and stop and help, but I don't really speak much in the way of French, and I'm also knackered, which if you're not familiar with that phrase, that is a British phrase that stems from when horses got to the end of their useful life and were sent to what was known as the knacker's yard. At least that's what I understand it. So to say you're knackered means, yeah, you're just really tired, ready to be put down, that kind of thing. We are right at the end of the day here. We've got about 20 kilometers to go, not too far. We're riding through this beautiful natural park that you can't really see, but there's loads of lakes and ponds and all sorts of interesting stuff. Unfortunately, I rode through most of it half asleep and forgot to put the cameras on. So I really am not very good at this. You'll just have to take my word for it. Oh, I'm so thirsty. All I could see in my head is a tall glass of beer, you know, with the condensation on the outside of the glass. Oh. And I'm hungry. I've got absolutely no idea what's going to be at this accommodation either. I don't know if there's a restaurant or anything at all. I really hope we don't have to go out somewhere else to find somewhere to eat. When I was originally booking the accommodation for this part of the trip, this area, this was the one that we had to change. I think I mentioned that earlier, possibly not. We had to change one of the bookings anyway because it turned out that they didn't actually have 2 rooms. I love my dad and all, but I think we're past the point where we're going to share a room. The place that we were going to stay at definitely did have a restaurant on site and also on-site parking, but I don't think this place does, so we'll have to do some locking up of the bikes. Well, this is Saint Gaultier. come in on a slightly different road to the one that I planned. We just followed the sat-nav for the last bit, took a slightly more direct route to get the job done a bit quicker. I love the flexibility when you're touring. One of my favourite ways to tour in the UK is just to go. You've got your credit card, you don't know where you're going to stay, you just figure it out. I've done that quite a few times, I've always had a great time. Not so easy when there's two of you, you've got to think ahead a little bit more. Right, let's see if we can find where we're staying. I think this might be where we have to park. Proper little French town. And then there's a pizzeria. Well, it's here apparently. That was a long day of riding. Here I am in my hotel room. Let me give you the quick tour. Yeah, it's all right. Quite happy with that. It's got its own little ensuite bathroom. And we've got just a view down into the street. So that should do. That should keep you comfortable tonight. This place is a bit weird though. I'm not sure I can recommend Saint Gaultier as a tourist destination. We've walked all the way around the town looking for somewhere to drink or somewhere to eat. Everything is either shut, temporarily shut, or shut for good. You know, windows kind of pasted up and everything. This place is a bit dead, and it comes back to what I think I said earlier about how French towns are going just like British towns. Everything's going out of town to retail parks and stuff. And exactly the same thing seems to have happened here, because on the edge of the little town, there's a little supermarket, pharmacy, a pizza vending machine. We didn't try that. And yeah, so we went there to get some drinks. And French supermarkets are not like UK supermarkets. We've got rows of fridges full of cold drinks. You know, there's usually one small fridge right in the corner of the supermarket. Such was the case here. So I bought pretty much everything they had in order to quench my perishing thirst. Now what I need to do is rest my back. I'm going to have an hour kip or something, then we'll go and try and find somewhere to eat. Hopefully something will have opened up later. And that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate that. And hopefully you'll tune in for day 2 tomorrow. We're heading down to Fournel. I don't know how to pronounce any of these places. It's another long day in the saddle, but hopefully a bit more picturesque than today. So join me if you can. I'll see you next time. CG Rides.